YouTube. Today on the Naughty Librarian, I am doing my next episode of Hi Shakespeare, and today I am going to be reading As You Like It by William Shakespeare. And you guys picked this. I let my patrons pick this one for me for my next Hi Shakespeare, and this was the winner, As You Like It. It is a comedy, which I think works for Hi Shakespeare. I don't know how dramas are gonna work, but comedies seem to be pretty fun. I know this one has Rosalind in it, and Rosalind's like a fan favorite character, but other than that, I kind of really don't know what this is about at all. I've never read it before, but I am gonna be trying this one out. We'll see how it goes. I'm just gonna read the whole thing. It's not very long, and I will come back when I am appropriately high and like tell you what happened. Let's go. Okay, so I just finished the play. I don't really have words for what I just read because I hate it. Like, here's the thing, like, I don't think being high made it better or worse. I think I would hate it no matter when. Like, it's not good. And I'm like stunned how much I don't like it because it makes no sense to a degree where it's like aggressive that it's not making any sense. Okay. I'm gonna rally. This is what happened. This is what happened in the book or the play. Let's go. Okay, so let's start with Act 1. Of course, where else would I start? So we have Orlando and his brother Oliver. Now, they don't get along. Like, Oliver is kind of a dick to Orlando for like multiple reasons. One, he's the oldest and the heir, so he doesn't really have like any reason to be nice to Orlando, but like honestly, I think he's also jealous of Orlando because Orlando's like good at like all kinds of stuff and Oliver's not as good at stuff. So sibling rivalry, but Oliver's kind of a dick basically. And this guy Charles shows up, and he's not in any more of the play. He's in like in one scene, and he shows up just to gossip basically with Oliver, and he's like, Oliver, guess what? I am going to be doing exposition right now. So he tells him, you know, the current Duke we have, he just got kicked out of power by his younger brother named Frederick, and the younger brother banished the Duke to the woods, but his daughter, the Duke's daughter Rosalind, got to stay in like the castle or whatever because she's best friends with Frederick's daughter. But anyways, the old Duke's in the woods now. Like that's where he lives. Like that's a lot to just come into someone's house and say, okay. And also, here's another thing with Charles. He's also a wrestler for some reason. And like, he's like, guess what? I'm going to go wrestle for the new Duke tomorrow. But he also tells him that like his brother, Orlando, is planning on like disguising himself and like is gonna wrestle against him. And Charles is like, listen, like I don't want to disfigure your brother, but like it's going to happen because like I'm an excellent wrestler. I'm like the king of wrestlers. If this is the WWE, I'm owning all them bitches. So that's where he is with life. So now we're going to cut back to the castle. We're with like Celia and Rosalind and their cousins and their best friends. And Rosalind's sad because, you know, her dad just got banished to the woods. She's sad about it, as you do. And so the girls are like, okay, we're going to do something about this. Let's go sneak into the wrestling match and watch it. Because this is their entertainment. They're all into WWE apparently. So they go to the wrestling match and Rosalind sees Orlando and she's like, that ass though. She's like, wow. And then Orlando, he sees her and he's like, oh my word, like she's so hot. And so they both have a case of the insta-loves. And they maybe talk for like a minute. And I think she like gives him like a charm or something, like a necklace. And he's just like, ooh. And like, they're like in love with each other. They just met while he was wrestling another sweaty man. Okay, why not? This is the least weird thing that's gonna happen in this play, I'll tell you right now. So Orlando and Charles wrestle, and Orlando somehow wins. This sneaky little guy, he wins the wrestling match, but his identity gets revealed to the new Duke, and the new Duke is not happy about it because like he had beef with Orlando's dad, who was friends with the old Duke. So like, I don't know, Frederick, he just always is mad at people. So he's like not cool with Orlando. He's like, get the fuck out of here. And then he's like, and you know what, Rosalind, you get the fuck out of here too. Like, I'm tired of looking at you. You got 10 days, pack your shit and leave, or we're gonna kill you. Like, oh my word, this is a lot just to like have happen in a row. And you know what, for real though, like Frederick is like the epitome of tiny dick energy. Like, if this was modern times, this guy would be driving like the most massive lifted Hummer you had ever seen just to compensate for his tiny little wiener. Like, he's just the worst. He's got beef with everybody. He's beefy, he's a little beef boy, and I don't like him. Anyway, so Rosalind's getting kicked out of the castle. So she's like, oh no. And Celia and her decide they're gonna run away. And they're gonna run off into the forest because I think that's the only place people run to when they're leaving. So she's gonna go to the forest anyway where she was getting banished. And so Rosalind is kind of tall, so she's like, I got it, I'm gonna dress up like a dude. And then Celia's not as tall, so she's like, oh, I'll dress up like a poor lady and like no one will catch us. So they're gonna get in disguises and run off into the woods. And that's kind of where Act 1 ends. Just tiny dick energy. Let's go on to Act 2. So Duke Frederick finds out his daughter ran off with Rosalind, and he's all super pissed about it because for reasons, obviously. And all the servants are like gossiping and stuff, and like he hears that like Rosalind and Orlando were like in insta love, and he's just like, I bet that little shit Orlando's with him. I bet so. I bet it. So now he's like double pissed. He's like, he thinks everyone's coming to get him, but really it's like, you're not that cool, dude. No one cares. But meanwhile, Orlando, he's coming home after the wrestling match. Apparently it took him a long time to get home, I guess, but like before he goes in the house, he gets stopped by this guy, Adam, who's like an older guy. He's a servant. He's like, don't go in there. Don't do it. Because I shit you not, Oliver was planning to burn down the house while Orlando was in it sleeping to kill him. Like, we went from petty older brother to murder like so fast. And Orlando doesn't want to get burned to death. So he's like, okay, we're gonna run away. And so Adam and Orlando run away as well to the forest. Everyone's just running away to the forest. There's other places. And here's the thing, like, I guess there's just like a ton of people who just live in the woods too. Like, I realize a lot of people have just run off into the woods so far in this play, but there's just a lot of people who live in the woods too, because we keep meeting all of them like a bunch. Because we come across this guy, his name's Corin, and then there's this other guy, Silvius, and Silvius, he's just obsessed with this girl Phoebe. Like, he's just like simping on Phoebe to Corin, and Corin's like, I do not care at all. I don't know why you keep talking to me, because like I don't care anything about what you're saying. So it's one of those. And Rosalind, she's disguised as a guy, and she puts on her big boy pants, and she's like, hey, Corin, guess what? We're tired, we're hungry, we need a place to stay. Could I like pay you to stay at your house? Which is so weird, because it's like, are you trying to get locked in someone's basement? You don't know this person, this is a stranger. But anyway, we're gonna move past that, because fine, whatever, that's how they live their lives. But Corin, he's like, I don't own a house. Like, I'm a shepherd, yo. But the guy's like sheep, the guy who owns the sheep I shepherd, like, he's selling his house, and you could buy it, and it comes with the sheep, and I'll stay to like take care of the sheep. And Rosalind's like, that's a great idea. So she goes off with Corin, and she buys the house in the woods and the sheep, and she's a shepherd. So now she like owns a ranch in the woods. What is going on in this? Like, I feel like everyone thinks I'm making this up, but like, I'm not. It's this weird. Cut back to Orlando and Adam. They're in the forest. They're all exhausted and hungry and stuff because, like, you know, Adam is an older guy. He doesn't have the physical strength to keep going through the forest. So Orlando's like, all right, you rest. I'm gonna go get some food. We'll figure it out. So Orlando is walking around, and he comes across the old Duke. And by the way, they call him Duke Senior, which feels like just lazy naming, but whatever, we're gonna move past that. So Duke Sr., he's like full on living in the woods, Robin Hood style, just like with all these dudes. They're having campfires and food, and they got singers and the music. They probably got s'mores and like beans. I don't know what you eat in the forest. What do you eat when you're camping in the woods? Beans? Like, I don't know what the food they have. And Orlando rolls up to this and he's just like, I'll kill you all. Give me your food. Like, just trying to be a tough guy. And the Duke is just like, bro, like, you can just have some food. Like, are you okay? he's real chill about it. He's like, are you okay? You could have just had some food. Like, what are you doing? And Orlando's like, oh, like, I thought I had to be tough in the woods. And he's like, I mean, you do you. So it's just such like a weird interaction they have with each other. But like the Duke's real nice and he's like, hey, you want to come hang out? And he's like, all right, I'm going to get my manservant. So he brings Adam back. They sit down. They have a bunch of s'mores, I guess, with the Duke in the forest. And like Orlando's like, hey, my dad was your friend. And he's like, oh shit, he was my friend. You can like stay and hang out with us. So it's full Robin Hood. He's like making his merry band of men right now. It's full Robin Hood. All right, so Act 3, we're back with Duke Frederick. He is still pissed. Surprise of all surprises, am I right? So he's mad because no one's been able to find his daughter yet. And he's like, what is going on? Go, you know what? Go get that Oliver kid. So he brings Oliver over and he's like, Oliver, your smutty, filthy little brother. He's probably off with Rosalind in the woods doing who knows what with each other. You need to go get him. You need to go get your brother or you're getting banished too. It's like, damn, Freddy, you can't banish everyone. You're just going to sit in your castle alone at this point. You're just going to banish everybody. Everyone's going to be in the woods having a great time camping and you're just going to be alone. I can't. It's just tiny dick energy all over the place. So meanwhile, let's go back to the forest and see what everyone else has been doing. And we're going to go back to Orlando, right? And Orlando, like, he's just been frolicking through the woods, writing love poems about Rosalind on trees. And I'm not even joking. That's literally what he's doing. He is literally frolicking through the woods, writing love letters on trees. Like, I'm not making this up. And I feel like this story is so ridiculous. It sounds like something a high person is making up, but I swear this is what happens in the play. And Rosalind's also in the forest, and she keeps seeing all the poetry on the trees, and she's really obsessed with Orlando too. So like, eventually they do run into each other. And like, the thing is, Rosalind is dressed up like a guy, and she's been going by the name Ganymede. So she's like a guy right now. So she's like, okay, now's my time. I'm going to talk to Orlando. I'm finally going to do it. And she doesn't really know what to do. So she's like, what time is it? She literally just asks him what time it is, smooth. Like, here's like her whole grand plan. Like, we're going to paraphrase a lot of stuff. But basically, her whole scheme here is that she's going to run a scam on Orlando, like, in order to get to hang out with them. She says that she'll be able to cure him of his affliction of love he has for Rosalind by pretending to be Rosalind, but like a crazy bitch version of her. And all Orlando has to do is come over to her house and, like, call her Rosalind and pretend that she's Rosalind and stuff. And it's like, what? Honestly, I have no idea how Orlando just believes this. Like, he's like, oh yeah, that seems like a good plan. I'm gonna come over to your house and pretend you're Rosalind and talk to you like you're Rosalind, and in order to get over my love of Rosalind. Now that I'm saying it that way, it does actually kind of sound like therapy. But still, it's just such like an elaborate plan that doesn't need to exist. And also, it's like, don't you want Orlando to like Rosalind because you're in love with him, but now you're pretending to be a man who's trying to get Orlando to fall out of love with Rosalind by telling everyone she's a crazy bitch? Like, what is happening here? I have no idea what's happening. Like, I can't like understand what's happening in this play. It makes no sense, like, to a point where I'm just like, bothered by it because it's so bizarre. All right, we're gonna move forward to Act 4. We're almost done with this. So it's later on in the day, and Rosalind is super angry. She's disappointed because Orlando never showed up at her house to do his love therapy. And she's talking, and you know what? There's a bunch of throwaway lines here right now that are never addressed, and they seem really important. Like, Rosalind met up with her dad while she was dressed up as like Ganymede. So she's dressed up as a guy, and she met up with her dad, and she pretended she didn't know him. She's like, oh, I'm Ganymede. I've never met you before. You're just some guy in the woods. I'm a guy in the woods, too. Have you seen? I'm a guy. And it makes no sense. Like, she was really sad her father got banished, and now she's pretending not to know him. And it's like, why is she even still in disguise? Like, she's already in the woods and bought a ranch. Like, what is happening? Like, she could have just like been like, hey dad, guess what, it's me, it's Rosalind, can I live in your cool like campground with all your people? And you've been like, yeah, I love you, daughter, come hang out in my campground. And like, Orlando's there too. She could have like totally just been dating Orlando right now, but no, she just keeps dressing up like Ganymede, and she bought a farm in the woods, and she's pretending to be a guy, and she's like trying to trick her love interest into a relationship with her while also lying about the relationship and then lying to her dad. Like, what is even going on right now? Like, why does being in the woods make everybody crazy when it comes to Shakespeare? Like, I don't understand anybody's reasoning for doing anything in this, and it's just like, it's incomprehensible, frankly. And I don't think it's just because of the weed. I think it just doesn't make any sense. And I'm like, it's hurting my brain to think of this. So Rosalind's still in the forest, and she's feeling like upset still because Orlando didn't show up. And she comes across that guy Silvius again, who's like simping over Phoebe. He's like really trying to figure out how to like seduce Phoebe. But Phoebe is 0% interested in Silvius. She's like, nope. Ew, you're gross, go away, I don't like you. She's like kind of mean to him, and he's like being really nice to her, so like you feel for the guy. But like, you know, Rosalind, she's still feeling pretty sensitive at the moment, so when she sees that, she just lays into Phoebe, and she's like, hey, you're a bitch. I mean, it's a longer diatribe than that, but that's basically the thing. But it backfires because I think Phoebe has daddy issues, because she's like, oh, how dare you yell at me? I want to make out with you. So now Phoebe's like in love with Ganymede because Ganymede was mean to her once, and now she likes him. Why? Again, I can't. But anyway, now we have love triangles too with this incomprehensible nonsense. So Phoebe and Silvius, they just leave because they're done with their scene. And Orlando finally decides to show up. He's like hours late. So they go do their love therapy. She's trying really hard to get like Orlando to think Rosalind's a crazy bitch and not like her, which is just insane. I question her sanity every word I read in this. And Orlando, eventually he's like, all right, I gotta leave. I got a dinner appointment. I got a dinner date with the Duke. So he leaves because he has to go have dinner with the Duke. And Silvius comes back and he's like, hey, Phoebe gave me this letter. You read it. So Rosalind Ganymede, he gets a letter from Phoebe saying he's a dick and he sucks, and that she also wants to date him. And Rosalind still can't stand Phoebe. She's like, nope, ew, Phoebe's a bitch. I would never. She tells Sylvia, she's like, you go tell her I would never date her. I don't care if I was on fire and dating her was a bucket of water, I still wouldn't do it. I refuse. I'd rather burn. And so it's like a whole loathing diatribe. And she's like, hey, guess what, Phoebe? If Phoebe really wants to date Ganymede, like, tell her to pretend you're Ganymede then. Sylvia's, I'm doing you a solid here. So Sylvia's is like, I'll go tell her that. And just leaves. Everyone just comes in and out to move the plot along, and it has no rhyme or reason why they're there. And yet another new arrival comes, to move the plot forward. And it's Oliver. So Oliver's in the wood, and he's looking for Orlando, and he tells the girls that he was sleeping in the forest, right? While he was looking for his brother. And I don't know what that is. This is another Shakespeareism, because everybody just takes naps in the woods. Like, do people just do that? You go in the forest and fall asleep? Like, everyone's taking naps. So many naps. Why all the naps? Anyway, Oliver, he was napping, and then he almost got attacked by a lioness. But like his brother Orlando had come along at the same time, and he like fought off the lioness so he wouldn't kill Oliver, and he got hurt in the fight because he actually got in a fight with a lion, and now Oliver feels bad for being mean to Orlando, and he likes his brother again. So he's doing this. So he comes over to the girls, well, one's Ganymede, and he's like, he gives him this bloody handkerchief. He's like, hey, Orlando sent me here to give you this bloody handkerchief because he didn't want, Rosalind to get mad at him for being late again. So what is happening? Like, you sent your brother to your girlfriend's house with bloody bandages to say, hey, sorry I'm late. Like, what is happening? It makes no sense. But anyway, Oliver's like takes Rosalind and Celia to go see Orlando because he got in a fight with a lion. By the way, why is there a lion in this? We're in the woods of Italy. Like, this is in Italy in the woods. Maybe a mountain lion? I don't even know if they have those in Italy, but why is there a fucking lion? Why is anything? Really? All right. Act 5, we're almost done. We're almost done with this. So, like, nothing has made sense in here. And in Act 5, shit just gets even crazier because why not at this point? I feel like it's a little deranged. Insta love has struck again because now Oliver and Celia are in love with each other. They literally just met and have maybe spoken 8 words to each other. And most of them were, my brother got attacked by a lion. So, I'm gonna let that one slide. It's the least weird thing happening right now, I guarantee it. Rosalind, she comes to check on Orlando, but like as Ganymede. And here's the moment, okay? This is the moment where she could have just told Orlando, hey, I'm Rosalind, it's a costume, but like we could be together. She could have just told him what was what, like right now. And instead, she goes the bug nuts insane way, and she's like, hey, Orlando, this is Ganymede. Guess what? I'm a magician, and tomorrow I will make Rosalind appear, and you can, like, marry her or whatever if you want. No big deal, no pressure, but seriously, you should do it. So, she just leaves. Like, I don't know why she thought, like, you know what? This is the time to make me into a wizard. So now she's dressed up as a man pretending to be a wizard who's also pretending to be crazy bitch Rosalind. The rabbit hole just keeps going deeper, and I don't know why. Okay, we're gonna cut straight to the next day. So it's I'm okay. It's the next day, and this is when everything gets even weirder than you ever could have imagined. Because you know how fucked up and weird this play was? It gets weirder because I kid you not, the god of marriage, whose name is Hymen, that just comes down from the clouds and just marries everybody to the right person. Literally a god of marriage is now in this play. For some reason, the gods are real in this. Okay. So, Hymen shows up and he's just like, all right, line up everybody. We're all getting married. Rosalind, Orlando, boom, you're married. Celia, Oliver, boom, you're married. And Phoebe, Sylvanus, guess what? Cha married. Just so many marriages. Like, I think, more people get married than that too. Those are just the 3 main ones we've been talking about. But like, okay. The god came down from the clouds and married everybody. Good night, everybody. Like, I don't know where they're gonna go from there. So, last thing here in the play, this other brother of Orlando and Oliver shows up, and he's just there to, spread the plot, move the exposition forward. He's like, hey, here's a knowledge bomb for everybody in this Robin Hood camp. Guess what? Duke Frederick, He was coming into the woods because he was looking for his daughter because no one could find her. So he was gonna go look for her himself. And then on the way, like, he met this really religious guy, and he was like, huh, you make a lot of good points. And he decided to go become a monk and give back all of the lands and stuff he took to his older brother, who's the Duke. And then the play just ends. Like, the play literally ends there. What? Frederick became a monk and gave back all the land, and the play just ends after the gods came down from the sky and married everybody? Like, I feel like this is a cocaine fever dream and something someone made up whilst on drugs, but, like, I'm telling you, this is what's in the play. How? None of it makes any sense, and frankly, my brain hurts. Like, it hurts trying to figure things out. It's one of those, you know, stories where it makes you feel like your brain is made of gopher holes, where every time you find a hole, you keep going down it trying to find an answer, and you just, I'll tell you right now, the hole doesn't end. You'll never find an answer. Just digging forever. And that's how my brain feels. I can't deal with it. And also, like, I'm quite high. Okay, on that note, I am going to go eat a lot of Doritos because that seems like the best decision I've ever made in my life. Better than a lot of decisions that were made in this play. But overall, I did not like this play. I think it's bad and makes no sense. What is happening? I know a lot of people really like Rosalind, but, like, she's not that great. She's kind of dumb. Why did she do anything she did? She could have made her life a lot easier, but again, I guess if she just was sane and made things easy, there wouldn't have been a play. It would have been over in like 3 pages. But anyway, on that note, let me know in the comments down below. I don't know, what's a story or a play or whatever that you were watching or reading and you're just like, this is the weirdest thing I have ever experienced, and people will think I'm making it up if I try to tell them about it. Let me know in the comments down below what that experience was like for you. If you like this video, make sure you give it a like, and if you want to see more videos, make sure you subscribe, and if you want to see more cool exclusive content, including a book club, you can consider becoming a channel member or a patron. The links for that are in the description down below, and on that note, I will see you guys soon. Bye!